New parts have arrived from the factory without issue. They'll be fitted to the car in time for the next session.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 151 today for Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Season 8. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But heading to this episode then, 6 upgrades on the car, 3 on aerodynamics and 3 on the chassis side. A whole raft of upgrades, so I'm hoping this car is going to feel a lot better than it did last episode. I mean, already last episode the car felt pretty good, and relative to the rest of the grid, we did a pretty damn awesome job at the Chinese Grand Prix, but this hopefully will mean our car feels even better around Azerbaijan. Usually is a tough Grand Prix anyway, and we're going to need a good performing car around this circuit here. So performance chart wise, you can see we really take a nice leap and bound once again, and into this episode get ahead of Mercedes and Ferrari now as the third best team on the grid, with a bit of golf to Red Bull and Renault there, but Renault plateauing, Red Bull with a tiny upgrade it seems like there, maybe a minor upgrade I think, just about. Hard to kind of tell with the Red Bull line being so dark blue, but yeah, so 6 upgrades for us, very evenly spread, so hopefully, you know, we can brake a little bit later, the tyre will be a little bit easier maybe to handle, and also the downforce levels will be somewhat better than we're at China. We're able to run a more compromised setup line maybe for qualifying and the race. And speaking about that, we go straight into then qualifying and start off this first final lap then in the short qualifying session, a little bit wide on that right hander there, trying to avoid the curbings of course as they slow us down, but a little bit too eager to avoid the curbing that was on that right hander as we lost a bit of time. And then through into the castle section, was a bit hesitant, I can't lie actually, as the car felt very stiff on this first outing. I can't really explain it any better than that. It just felt very uneager to slow down and kind of turn in when exactly I wanted to and kind of bite into the circuit. So I was a bit hesitant in some of these turn-ins there on that first flying lap, and even the second flying run, a little bit more aggressive into turn 1, but still the car felt very just uneager to turn in when I wanted to exactly, pretty much is the only way I can describe it. And so as we come through though, we do gain a heap more time than we do on the first run. We need to, because we're only down in P15, so very poor first showing in qualifying, so we need to improve by quite some way. My teammate is actually 2 seconds faster than me, so there's a lot of time to gain here on this second run. We do gain a fair bit, so I think we should be good to maybe just about match or beat our teammate Leclerc as we go through the last bit section on this track, and then it's just a straight run to the line there, the motorway section here at Baku, and we just sit here with DRS open now, run to the line. The ERS shouldn't be an issue, we should just run out just as we cross the line, and across the line it is, and we're up into P3 then, and eventually it'll be down to P4 as the 2 Renaults take the front row with Fernando Alonso on pole position, the man on fire with 3 wins in a row so far this season, 3 out of 3 on pole. Hamilton second place, Gasly third, but you can see there myself and Leclerc in P4, P5, so the upgrades have come in very well as we beat the Mercedes and the Ferrari and even one of the Red Bull Hondas of Carlos Sainz was a very poor showing, so could be a very good Sunday afternoon for us here. Let's go to the grid and find out.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Baku City Circuit then, an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. Anthony Davidson joins me today as we look ahead to something just a little bit different. It's quite high speed for a street circuit here, isn't it? Do you think that's going to throw up any unexpected situations?
Well, as long as the teams can keep everything cool, I don't foresee any particular big issues from a technical side of things. The smart strategy would be to expect a safety car, I think, especially early on when the pack is bunched up.
And so with that, let's take a look at the starting grid, then have this Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Season 8 of my F1 2018 career mode. And on pole position then, no surprise, Fernando Alonso, the man in fine form on pole. And a front row lockout for the Renaults with Hamilton in second place. Pierre Gasly in third and myself in P4, so the 2 Season 7 championship rivals on the same row. Then the next row to all Mercedes with Sebastian Vettel and Carlos Sainz next, with the top 10 round out by the 2 Toro Rossos. Ricciardo P11, Sergio Perez P12, Romeo Grosjean P13, with Leclerc way down in P14 with massive grid penalties. Magnussen Raikkonen next with Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon and Brendan Hartley rounding the grid. Both of those last 2 with the grid penalties as well, equally ahead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Right, so here we are on the grid then ahead of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix as the sun comes down here in Baku, and unfortunately it's going to be a solo effort from myself for Alfa Racing here because my teammate Leclerc has been handed a massive grid penalty down to P14 for some components, I'm assuming, for his engine there. So strategy-wise, going to be a two-stop, it's looking like, default from the Ultras to two sets of Super Softs. So we'll see about that because a lot of the time the one-stop is a good way to go about this race, you know, to get track position, but we'll kind of see what scenario we're in later on in the Grand Prix and take it from there. But here we go then to 5 red lights. So round number 4 of Season 8, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Baku. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. It's a bit of a shaky start from Hamilton there right ahead of us. A lot of wheel spin. Gasly round his outside. We're to the inside of Verstappen there, as we have to do a little bit defensive driving and take it nice and easy and take it cautiously as Gasly and Hamilton are the ones that are doing battle. And Hamilton with a lock up there as Gasly makes contact with our fellow Brit, and meanwhile Alonso gets away in first place, which is not a good sign for anyone really in the championship's sake, but it's happening as Hamilton is still defending against Gasly. Goes around the outside, squeezes the Frenchman out. Can we have a look on the left hand side? No, we have to take it nice and easy and be very patient here. Could have stopped my nose in, but that could have been quite bad for me and could have ended up in the wall there. So taking it nice and calm on the opening lap as we now move on to lap number 2, and Gasly now with slipstream. No DRS quite yet, remember, but around the outside, can he make it stick this time round for the Red Bull Honda and get it into second place then? Sandwich the two Renaults. Not quite yet as these two again. Deja vu now for me on lap 2 as they're side by side in the same place on track. This time now Gasly has to pull into the slipstream and try and pull back out maybe for a move on the left-hander once again. This time though I'm kind of determined to get my nose in there and try and get involved in the battle as Hamilton squeezes him out. We're going to go on the outside. Gasly just about gives us enough room, but not really as he goes over the bumps. He nearly squeezes into the wall there, and he's really putting on a good defensive showing now. We have a little look to the inside, but unable to make it work. He cuts across us and remains in P3, and so my championship rival from last season not wanting to make it any easy for me to make the move there. As we now move on to lap 3 though, finally we might have a good run on Gasly here. Obviously, like I said, it's like a motorway here down in Baku, down this main straight. No DRS yet, still available. Overtake mode and rich mix there. We pull out to the left. Gasly a little bit aggressive there on the way he moved in the middle of the circuit, but we made the move stick and we're up into P3 now. So we've got some decent pace, it seems like, in terms of race pace compared to the Red Bull, and even Hamilton has not really got away from us too much there, so let's see if we can try and catch up to him. But meanwhile, at the moment here on lap 3, Gasly is going to come back at us here, so for now we're going to look behind us rather than ahead. But meanwhile Hamilton a little bit slow there into that corner, and Gasly ran outside of Hamilton, very slow for some reason. He's got an issue of some sort, and it's getting very close between us three. 3 wide momentarily. His yellow flags are out behind us, so Hamilton, it looks like he's maybe retiring out of this Grand Prix. Myself and Gasly are side by side once again for the second episode in a row now, going toe to toe around Baku here. Gasly on the inside, myself on the outside. It'll be the same thing for the next right-hander before the castle section. This will be a crucial corner now to see who gets ahead. Gasly locks up and almost puts us in the wall, and Verstappen gets down the inside out of nowhere there. The Dutchman, a wily old fox move there from the Dutchman in the Mercedes car, and he's up into P3 now. Gasly remains in P2. I'm down to P4 as Gasly very, very nearly put me straight into the wall before the castle section there, so I'm going to have some stern words with him after the Grand Prix about that etiquette. But as we go through then, just trying to follow on with Verstappen then. Verstappen's right on the back of Gasly maybe. Going to size him up for a move as we go through to the end of this lap. I'm going to try and do the same thing if I can to the Dutchman, but for now that's not worked out for me. I tried to get 1 place, I've in fact lost 2 places. So here we go now, onto the main straight, on towards lap 4. DRS will be available this time though, and Verstappen though is waltzed away from me, so it might be the Mercedes v Red Bull rather than myself v any of them. And as we look on ahead of us, Verstappen down the inside of the left-hander, and he's actually got Gasly completely. Gasly tucks in then, gets blocked off a little bit. Here we go. We have a look around the outside as Gasly was really held up by Verstappen in the brake zone there, so thank you very much Verstappen for doing that for us, because now we have a chance to make a move around the outside there. Still on the second turn now, a drag race to the next corner. DRS open for us and him, and he's just got the legs. The Honda power just a little bit better than the Ferrari power in the back of our Alfa Romeo car, but we dive it to the inside, lock up on the front left. Gasly with the great switchback move, to be fair. What a switchback move for him, but we're down the inside again, deep into that corner, trying to squeeze him into the left-hand side, but Gasly's not having any of it. He gets the elbows out, we're going the long way around, and we're just about going to make the corner there. Lunge to the second part of the chicane, and this time we'll get it, and we're up into P P3. Meanwhile, a little bit later on then, on that lap, a nice shot here, whilst the other cars are going the other way. Hamilton is still trundling around. He's not got a car failure, he's actually got a puncher. That's why he was slow beforehand, but he's going very slow on this part of the circuit. And if you remember, I think to last season even, this was the same part where Renault went slow at this area of the circuit and caused a safety car, I think it is. And I think a safety car is exactly what's going to get called out right about now for that incident. And so there you go, the full safety car is out, and that's because Hamilton is going very slow and very dangerously on the main back straight there, trying to get back to the pit lane desperately. So we're going to make a pit stop now under this safety car, and we're going to confirm to box in this lap, but I'm going to switch it, you can see on the heads-up display, from the super softs to the soft tyre there, because I'm not going to try and follow the default strategy of a 2-stop now. I'm going to switch to a 1-stop, going to soft tyres here, because we're going to pit on lap 4, which is quite early, but we're going to go at least 2 laps then under the safety car to lap 6 or 7, and that is going to be just enough maybe for us to get to the end of the Grand Prix then on those softs, because the soft tyres, they're not great race tyres, but they are very durable around here. So we're going to go for that, go for the trap position, and pretty much try again what we did at China, which worked out to a point for second place, but I'm smelling like we could try and even aim for that first place if we're lucky. We'll have to see really, because to be fair, Alonso looked very, very strong, but of course with the full safety car, everyone's going to get bunched up here, so we'll be a little bit closer to the Spaniard than we were before. So we're going to come out now and go for green as we go on to lap number 6 now, just eagerly waiting now to slam on the throttle and get going for this race once again. Here we go, I think it's just about going to be green flags now. There we go, we can resume racing, and so tucked up right behind Valtteri Bottas on super softs. A lot of traffic ahead of us here. Bottas, you got Hartley ahead, also the likes of Raikkonen and Stroll in the 2 Williams cars. These guys all not yet made pit stops in this Grand Prix. So we've made one move on Bottas and another move on Hartley as he's caught napping in a bit of a domino effect behind the 2 Williams cars of Raikkonen and Lance Stroll. So already back up into P10 of this Grand Prix. So desperate times. And actually I didn't mention here, we've actually overtaken Verstappen in the pit stop phases here under the safety car in the yellow flags. I don't know what happened, but Verstappen got held up massively in the pit lane. So we're already ahead of the Dutchman, and now we send it down the inside of the old Ferrari man Raikkonen, who's in the Williams these days, and we're up into P9 now. So it really is just all these cars of traffic basically that are between myself and first place is Fernando Alonso there. So once these guys all make pit stops and we get past them basically, it will be Fernando in first place, myself in second, and Verstappen in third place there. So you may have kind of missed it in the pit stop phase, but yeah, Verstappen did get held up quite badly, and he's a few cars behind us. So now we make a lovely little move there, that was around the outside of Lance Stroll, and now we're going to catapult ourselves towards Kevin Magnussen eventually on the very next lap as we go on towards lap 9 this is, and going to get tucked in the slipstream, pull out there on the left hand side even before we get to the main straight. DRS yet not available to us in this Grand Prix, will be available I think on this next lap. There you go, as we set a personal best, and it's fighting up ahead between a McLaren and another Haas car of Romain Grosjean there. Sergio Perez, the next immediate car up ahead of us, but could we try and make a bit of a 3-pronged overtake perhaps, as these guys go hammer and tong and hold each other up there, Grosjean and Ricciardo I think that is, and Perez getting in the mix here. We've got DRS, we're going to go very cautious here and lift off early and just try and suss out where the space is there. Here we go on the left hand side, Perez goes slow, we get one move done there. Will another move be available here as Grosjean really squeezes Ricciardo quite harshly to the left hand side there, but Ricciardo comes back very nicely in the McLaren there. So now can we suss out a move on Grosjean there, taking a nice tight line on the exit, get a good acceleration and exit off that corner, go really aggressive to the inside there, going to dive to the inside of Grosjean over the curbing, and we're up into P5. And now can we get Ricciardo? Can't quite get him in this next second, they're going to have to wait patiently until the next main straight as we move on towards lap 10, going left and then right. And then going to get a nice slingshot move here and catch Ricciardo even before the DRS is available. But now the DRS will open there. We'll get even more speed on the main straight. Overtake mode, rich mix engage, up into P4. And now we've got only the 2 Toro Rossos between us. And then it's Fernando Alonso. So working well at the moment as we move on to the end of lap 10 as we're in P4 trying to chase after the 2 Toro Rossos. Yellow flags behind us though. And you can see the McLaren of Ricciardo has had a major issue there. He's slowed up there and retired. And I only point that out because I want to point out that nothing funny happened here at this point. But look at this replay. This is the strangest crash I have ever seen in F1 game history. What on earth happened to Ricciardo? The aliens fully came out and just decked him into the wall and spun him out, and he lost 3 tyres there. Nothing funny happened there. I was driving along, catching the Toro Rossos, and behind me, the F1 gods just decided to blast him into the wall. So, yeah, I don't know what went on there, but there you go. Some funny business, and Ricciardo out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Meanwhile, we move on towards lap number 12. And we're going to overtake Sorokin pretty easily. He's going to come in anyway for a pit stop that lap. But still, we overtake him. And then eventually we will go and overtake Stoffel Vandoorne to get up into P2 then. And it will be Alonso P1, myself P2. But yeah, such a weird crash from Ricciardo there. Still... I still have no explanation of it, really, just no idea. But as we go on through the Grand Prix then, through the motions, eventually Alonso will also make his second pit stop of the afternoon onto another set of super soft tyres, so everyone by default is looking like to do a 2-stop here, at least on the top end of the spectrum. So we're on lap 16 now, 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We're now into first place, and Alonso is one entire pit stop behind, because we were only a couple of seconds behind him once he made his stop, so looking very good for now for the race winner. I've got to say, on lap 17 there, Verstappen's up into P2, Alonso down to P3, but now the safety car, a second safety car has been called out. Sorokin has crashed or is out of this Grand Prix, and that's such bad timing. Literally, we just crossed the pit lane entry, and so we couldn't make a pit stop under the safety car, otherwise it definitely would do, and this is why the safety car got called out then. Sorokin with an engine failure. That is so unlucky. It was only 1.5 corners or something like that after it crossed the pit entry that the safety car came out for this incident, and so that denied me to come in for the pit stop straight away under the safety car, but I'm going to come in anyway because it's a no-brainer, because we're going to bunch up, and so there'll be no point not pitting right now, because otherwise I'll be bunched up just only a few spaces ahead of Alonso, but on considerably worn tyres compared to him. So there's no logic not to make the pit stop. So we're on to a set of super soft tyres now. But the difference was Verstappen got to make one right under the safety car straight away. So we've lost a bit of time here, and in doing so, Alonso will get back up into first place. I'll be second now. But that's just very, very frustrating. So once again, almost like last season at the end of at the finale, a safety car does not help me out. But now on the restart, this is why I wanted to pit, because now with fresher tyres, here we go on the slingshot, we're going to go for the move, for the race lead, legit on-track overtake now for the race win, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, down the inside of Alonso. We've caught him napping a little bit there on the restart, and we're up into first place. Alonso down to second, Vandoorne is in third at the moment on soft tyres, because he's not made a pit stop on the safety car. Verstappen did, but speaking about Verstappen, here he comes now in P4. He did make a pit stop, but now he's going to come back through and try and get P3 back on the Toro Rosso car. And also, you know what? Alonso's not too far away as we're getting away from Alonso. Alonso's going a little bit slow, and my engineer has said that Alonso might have some issues with his car. It remains to be seen if they're going to be major issues, because for now he's still staying in P2, but Verstappen up into P3, where he moves straight on to the very next lap, and it looks like he might actually have issues, because that Mercedes car is closing a lot faster than I ever thought it would do, and there he goes for a move on the left-hand side for P2 in this Grand Prix. Verstappen on the left of Alonso there. Also in the background, meanwhile, you've got Leclerc overtaking the Toro Rosso car, so my teammate doing a great job as well, up into P4, got some good pace in that Alfa Romeo racing car of his, and now could he maybe even get Alonso to make it a double podium for Alfa Romeo Racing? That'll be quite something as we come through now, the very next lap, slingshot through onto the main straight. Oh, nearly made a move to the inside on the right, thought better of it, and Leclerc moves to the left now to make the move with DRS. Also, you've got the Red Bull of Gasly getting in the mix as well, but Leclerc will be the one that I think makes the move eventually down the inside for P3 in the Grand Prix. So it is going to be a 1-3 for Alfa Romeo for now in this Grand Prix, as we now move on with Gasly making a fantastic move around the outside of Fernando Alonso on that very tricky tight left-hander there, and Hamilton will also get in the mix there. So for the first time, Hamilton might just have a chance to overtake Fernando Alonso. Alonso's been the man on form so far this season, but now we're limping around this Baku circuit, and Hamilton has made the move, and he's up into what will be now, I think that's P5, isn't it? Gasly's in P4, Hamilton P5, Alonso P6. Hamilton now goes for the move on Gasly to try and get up into P4, but Alonso's also there, so he's maybe trying to find some form back and maybe try and fight back in this Grand Prix. He sends one down the inside of Gasly to get that position back, so maybe it's not over yet for the Spaniard and the Frenchman as they go side by side. Gasly on the outside, though, remains to be seen if he'll be able to keep the position. Let's see, it's a drag race now down that straight. I think the Honda power of the Red Bull has it. Yes, he does, and he's back up into P5 then, but Hamilton P4, Leclerc P3, Verstappen P2, and myself myself, we're still in P1, and we're going to be remaining in P1 right to the end of the Grand Prix. So you know what, it's going to be a fantastic Grand Prix for us today. Chaotic one, to say the least, but we're going to come through down the main straight for first place at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix to finally break Renault and Alonso's streak there. 3 wins on the trot, 4th one not so much, because I'm going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the first race win for Alfa Romeo Racing, and a double podium for the team with Leclerc in P3. Fantastic race for us. Get in there, lads.
Great job, you've done everything we wanted today.
A great win then for the Sauber team today. So, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you hit the fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Well, there you go. Alfa Romeo set us a task of trying to win a Grand Prix before the Canadian Grand Prix, and we'll get some extra resource points as a cash injection from them, and we've done that successfully, and we've just, well, first and foremost, broken that terrifying streak that Alonso was on of 3 wins in a row. I was getting quite scared for not only myself, but the rest of the championship, really, the other AI drivers around me, for having any kind of chance with Alonso being that on form. But there we go, it can be done. You can beat Alonso in that Renault in Season 8, and we are now up into 2nd place in the championship with that first win on the board for us today. 20 points back from Alonso there, but hopefully this can maybe be the start of a bit of a championship momentum swing for not only us, but also maybe the entire team as a whole as we move up to 2nd place in the Constructors ahead of Red Bull Honda. Of course, we've still got some upgrades to come in the next few episodes, so that'll be exciting stuff there. So could this really be the start of the season proper for us as the first 3 races? We're really just trying to get to grips with our car and trying to kind of get the kind of momentum going, I guess, of all these extra R&D points and all the upgrades we're doing quite rapidly, trying to get the car back to where we need it to be in this season there. But obviously we played that strategy to a T, got the track position, even with the 2nd safety car ruining our plan, we still made it work onto super softs, and we just pounced where you need to. Obviously got a little bit lucky because Alonso clearly had issues there at the end of that Grand Prix, but obviously make your own luck in Formula 1 sometimes. In you know, after 3 wins on a row, Alonso has maybe due a little bit of bad luck there. So as we come through to the end of the episode, then before you guys go, we're going to make some upgrade purchases on the R&D tree, some minor upgrades on the front and rear downforce of the car, and also some chassis side upgrades of tyre wear, I think, because I think really that's going to be a major area where we're going to try and take the fight to the Renault and Red Bull guys. If we can't beat them on pure pace from race to race, then it'll be with clever strategies, just kind of like last season in a way. So we're going to need that tyre wear there for the chassis side of things. And also I've kind of nearly run out of development points on the top right there. You can see I think we're just going to have enough points to maybe purchase the final DRS upgrade there on the aero side of things, but then we'll kind of be waiting a little bit around for that cash injection that Alfa Romeo will be giving us of 1,000 resource points at the Canadian Grand Prix. They said they'd give it to us if we won a Grand Prix by then, if you saw the first episode of the season. But guys, if you did enjoy this episode, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, to subscribe for weekly Formula content. I've been Alfa. Hope you enjoyed the day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.